Good evening and welcome to the Mancunian way with a Premier League preview as Manchester City are back in Premier League action and Rich has joined us from the outdoors.
Good morning.
If you can't see Rich, he's just got the sun. There we go. We can see him now.
I'll lean back into the sun for you, man.
Rich is in.
Rich is on his own.
Told you my Wi-Fi was fun today.
Yeah. So I have to. Will I still be live when you disappear?
Yeah, so you'll have to keep them going.
I need to entertain the audience instead of just saying, "Oops, I'm on my own."
Yeah, Rich is in his private estate over in Oz. Are you just? Is that your 17 acres behind you there, Rich?
No, that's actually the other side of the Middle Harbour. There's a lot of houses. Okay, it's my private estate.
You know what? If you could see Rich's WhatsApp that he was sending to us on Christmas Day, you enjoy your turkey. This is my view at the moment. I nearly threw my phone at him, right down the phone. Just didn't want views like that. Good evening, Adam Quinn. How are you? FIFA, hello. 7-0 incoming. Hello, Alec Johnson. I do apologise for being a bit late. As you can see, Virgin Media is having a bit of a nightmare this evening. I was typing while my internet was in and out. That was a problem. Yes, Yusuf. Really couldn't care whether you've got Gakpo or not. It's not like anyone City was after, mate. You just go and gloat on a United stream later on, mate. No point in doing it here. We weren't after him. We were never after him. New haircut, Rich?
Me? I did cut it before Christmas, yeah. I shortened it back down again.
Jack Lee says you've got a great green screen.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Always on, Mr. Panic. Have you had the same text messages this morning, Rich, off him?
I haven't checked, but I don't think so. I don't think I've yet had them.
City is shit. They're 8 points behind. We need to buy this guy immediately. We're not going to win anything. Like, Jesus Christ, calm down.
Do you know what? I've had some bets with him over the years. He doesn't actually pay up though.
No, he doesn't. He still owes me 50 quid on a bet.
He bet me 1 year we wouldn't win the title, and we did. And he bet me another year we wouldn't get top 4, and we did. And but he needs to pay up. Otherwise, I'd bet him again that we are going to win the league this year. But
I'm going to this game. Say hello if you can see me. Buy him a pint or two. Yeah. Gakpo Scousers tonight. I'm not that harsh, really. Shillo, good evening. Half of the fan base is having a meltdown tonight. This is what I was just saying to Rich before we come on air. There was a lot of meltdown going on Twitter at the moment because Arsenal have won a game. Liverpool are buying a player. And everyone's gone into meltdown because Newcastle won as well. And City... Everyone's running.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't even understand why Liverpool are signing a player in a position where they've already got too many players when they've got a midfield of Dad's army. Like, it seems a really strange way. Does that mean they've missed out on a midfielder and they're panic buying? Because he just strikes me as not what Liverpool need. It's like if City went out and signed a winger at the moment, I'd be like, why?
Well, yeah. I don't understand it. I don't understand.
If they given up on Nunes, does it mean Salah's going? If they, is Carvalho not good enough? If Diaz, if they given up on Diaz? I mean, to me, I thought they had the 5 or 6 of the best forwards in the world. At least that's what we're told. And
it's very strange signing.
Yeah, very strange. Like I thought they'd be going into midfield because everything I've seen of them this season's been glaring that they miss, fitness, energy, youth in that midfield 3. So it's a very, very strange signing.
Alan's shouting, "Get me on!" Told you, Alan. You need to be patient till we've done our due diligence. Did you like that word, Rich? That was quite a good analogy. That.
He wants
Yeah,
to come. He wants
go
to
on.
come on and make everyone miserable over Christmas. I mean, here is everyone cheerful. I've come in, smiling face, sunshine, just to help everyone be cheerful. And then Alan's
Oh.
going to come on and tell everyone we're not going to make the top four. We've got the worst manager and the worst players ever, and just depress everyone. It's Boxing Day. It's fun
It is
time of
Boxing
year.
Day, and happy Boxing Day to everyone. Right, anyway, I'll give you the rundown. Manchester City have dropped down to third place. Arsenal beat West Ham and Matter about an hour ago to go 3-1 on the night to go 8 points clear of the Blues. Newcastle walloping Leicester away at 3-0. They have jumped up to second, and Manchester City still have games in hand, 8 points behind Arsenal, 2 behind Newcastle. But remember, Newcastle who got a game in hand on 2 games in hand on Newcastle and a game in hand over Arsenal, and we've still got to play Arsenal twice. So I don't know why everyone's gone into a total meltdown right now.
Because Allanitis is out there.
Okay, right. Does today's results take on more importance for our result against Leeds United than in 2 days, Richard? Is Leeds to you now a must-win game?
I think if you try to win the Premier League, you can say every game's a must-win game. It's possible Arsenal were going to drop 2 points at home, but they were most likely always going to win that game. Newcastle away at Leicester, you think Newcastle are going to win? They've got a pretty fresh team and they've been in cracking form. I mean, they won the last 5 Premier League games going into the World Cup. So, the results have come as expected and we need to go and win. It's as simple as that. But the idea that we need to panic about 8 points with the game in hand, I mean, the Mickey Mousers were at one point 13 with 2 games in hand behind us last season, and they got to within a whisker of, getting one over us last season. I like it. I like the jeopardy. I'm so bored with cruising to, when we're 10 points clear, cruising to the title. I would love us to be going into the last game of the season, the league on the line, like last year, like 2012, like 14. I'd love that excitement. So come on, let's give Arsenal a bit of a lead. Let's go and have some sport. Let's hunt them down.
Okay, question. I'm just going to read two quotes from Alan, because this is what I'm told now. And
Yep.
Alan, shoot me later. I don't care. He said, Arsenal 8 points clear. City third. Lose to Leeds and it's over. Our failed to sign a left back could cost us this season, which is what he's put in the comments. So I'm not privy in private stuff. So I said, relax. Does it matter if we win nothing? Really, we ain't glory hunters here. Yeah? Calming him down a little bit. Then again, with the amount of investment and money we've spent, expectations are in place. You have to justify our spend. I mean, we'll come back to that in a minute. Plus, the old city is dead. Expectations are far different now.
Yeah. Well, firstly, we had a net spend of about minus 150 million or something in the summer. Exactly. So therefore, if we stay up, it's a triumph, because we're a negative spending team who's disinvested.
Yeah, won the net spend trophy.
So if we come 17th, that's a triumph. So, we've still got the Carling Cup, the FA Cup. I mean, I think if you can't enjoy a bit of excitement, a bit of a close battle, must-win games, if you can't enjoy that, what's the point? And in a way, it's much more. Imagine if we were 4 or 5 clear at the moment, we'd be going in knowing that we've got the league by 15. It's going to be so tedious. But the fact that Newcastle and Arsenal, 2 sides, are giving us a go, and the fact we've got Liverpool, an improving rag side, etc. behind us, that's what football's all about. That's excitement. That's great. I love it, and I hope it keeps going till I hope we're going to win the league, but I hope we do it in an exciting way. Just remember, how amazing. So particularly 2018-19, what brilliant season that was. Every game knowing you had to win. 14 games where there was jeopardy on everything. Everything was a cup final. That's what we want. Bit of excitement.
Do you know what though? I mean, by the way, yes, you could still lose out, Yusuf, because just because you're winning games now doesn't suddenly mean you're guaranteed. Because who's dropping out the top four for you, Yusuf? That's the thing. You signed a player you don't even need. That Rich is smart with that. Gakpo was not top of your list. You have just spent. Your owners don't spend a lot of money, and you just whacked 50 odd million down on a player you don't actually need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that. Yeah,
you're going to waste another 250 on two midfielders in the summer.
Yeah,
you ain't going to do that. You ain't got that money.
Yeah, that's bye Diaz. They're gonna
exactly. He's bye somebody.
Yeah, it's Diaz's game time gone because they're not going to drop Salah.
Or they're not going to buy Jude and Enzo then because they ain't got the money to buy those.
Yeah, and I know he can't finish, but they're not going to give up on Nunes yet. So to me, it is a funny buy.
It's a signing to stop United getting him.
Yeah, he's a good player, but I just think it's like if City, if City signed, at the moment to me, it's obvious City need a fullback, and we probably need an attacking or box-to-box midfielder to give us, backup to Bernardo and Gundogan and De Bruyne getting older. So those two positions are obvious. If we signed anything else but that, I'd be a bit like, what are we doing? So I just don't get that from Liverpool. But then I didn't get why they spent all the money up front in the summer and none of it in midfield. They're recent signings. But when you've got like Jota, Diaz, Salah, Nunes, etc., Firmino, Carvalho, etc., why would you strengthen in that area when you've got, having to play Milner, who's, whether you think he was a great player or whether you don't think he was a great player, he's past it now. I mean, he just begged to get off the pitch against Cole Palmer, and Cole Palmer's not been in form. So, it's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, okay then. So we're going to take on Leeds United. Leeds United are currently, as I look, sat, believe it or not, 15th in the league. Now, they've lost 3 out of their last 5. They've got 15 points so far this season. There are possible 42. Are Leeds exactly where you bang expect them, Rich?
I've probably now, yes. I must admit, last year I watched a reasonable amount of Leeds because I like Bielsa, and I quite liked the way they played football. My my brother's partner, she's a big Leeds fan, so I've taken a bit more interest in them, and they definitely underachieved in terms of their points last season compared to how they played. I think they played quite a few good games under Bielsa, but their defence was porous, and I guess the good football they showed was just not clinical enough in their box or in the other box. This season, they're not quite as good to watch under March. He's tightened them up a little bit. Obviously, Rafinha's gone, Phillips is gone, so they're not quite so exciting. They work hard, they press hard. They've got some decent enough players, but they just, I'd guess they just lack that quality. But what they do have, and we'll have to watch out for this, especially during the Christmas holidays, is I think they have the best atmosphere in the Premier League, or certainly did last season. I was there at Elland Road last year. The atmosphere from the Leeds fans, considering we battered them 4-0, absolutely battered them, was an incredible atmosphere. So I think we have to prepare ourselves that it is going to be a big, a huge crowd really up for it. And that's going to be the hardest thing. It's going to be like one of those atmospheres, like, when we lost the first game of the season to Cardiff a few years back. Well, probably about 7-8 years back, maybe even more. But it's going to be one of those atmospheres. So I think City need to get out there from the first minute, get on top, and then we're playing a side we're better than, and we can really go. But if we let them get into the game, we let that crowd really get behind them, it might not be quite as easy as it should be.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Leeds United so far this season have, like you said, they've been very much where I presumed they were going to be under Jesse Marsh. A lot of people thought that they were going to be a lot more sort of involved. They're going to be a lot more sort of closer up the table. When we look at some of their results just before post World Cup, they played 3 games and they won one of them in November. They beat Bournemouth 4-3 at home. They got beat by Wolves away, and they got beat by Tottenham at the New White Hart Lane in a classic. But they have pulled up a few trees this year. They've gone to Anfield and won. Maybe that was at the wrong time. But other than that, really, they've got beat by Palace, lost against Arsenal, beat by Leicester, beat by Fulham. There's only the Liverpool game and the Bournemouth game they've won in, looking at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 games. They've won 2 in 9 games, Rich.
Yeah. Well, I remember a mate of mine who's a Leeds fan who I play poker with, and we were going down to the game, and he goes, what was it? There'd been 2 monarchs and 3 prime ministers since Leeds had last won a Premier League game, because they went through that 6-7 weeks without winning a game. So, through a turbulent time in British history. But they did have a really bad run, and Jesse March was definitely in danger for losing his job. But at the same time, they are a team who I think play better than their results. There are some teams who you watch who they don't play well, but they seem to get results better than they play. I think United have been a bit like that this season at times. They've had some games that haven't been that good, and they've got results, which is why they've started to turn things around. But Leeds now for 2 years, you watch them go away. I think the Leicester away game was the absolute prime of this, and they were the better team for 89 minutes, and they managed to lose the game because they gave away a few chances and they were goals, and they didn't put any of their 15 chances they had in that game in the back of the net. And that's one of their problems. They're not clinical, and they are not in either defense or attack. They have mistakes in them to let in goals, and they'll miss chances the other end, and that costs them dear, because often in games, if you take out the 2 penalty areas, they've looked really good until you bring in that real clinical areas of the pitch.
Okay, Rich, let me throw a question to you, because I've heard this from some City fans. Have Manchester City took their eye off the Premier League because, as Pep said last week, they're going all guns Champions League?
No, I don't think we've ever. I think our players, and I still believe this. I know some people don't necessarily agree, but I think our players took their eye off the Premier League the last week or so before the World Cup, and I think the World Cup has kind of shown that. But I think that the players' eyes are always on the Premier League, are always on the Champions League. I don't think we've ever seen City players take their eyes off those, and nor do I. I think Pep's always said that's his main. It's his main objective is always to win the league, and I think just for the record books, I think he wants the Champions League, but I think he wants, a three-peat. I think he'll want a 4-peat. I think he'll want a 5-peat. That's why he's
more than the Champions League
taking the job. I don't know. I don't think Pep would choose. I think he'd say he wants both.
What about you?
Me?
Putting you on the spot.
I always like the Premier League, and I like getting that 3rd one. But I do kind of want to get that European Champions League monkey off our back. But I wouldn't take it if you offered me the Champions League and we lose the Premier League today. I wouldn't take it. I'd say I'd want both. You know,
What if you had to choose?
you win the Premier League, and then you get the Champions League as a bonus.
Anyway, right, thank you. That's just my little bit over. The only reason I'm asking it is because there's some who now think that the league, they took the half the league, obviously, because we want the Champions League, and we blew out. I think you go back to last Thursday night to show that we want to win everything. We want to win everything. Everyone thought we'd put a kids team out in the Carabao Cup because, don't worry about this. We played the prioritizing game before and it didn't work. When we prioritised the Premier League the Champions League over the FA Cup, we lost in the FA Cup against Liverpool. Then we got beat off Madrid, and we just about stumbled over the line in the league, and I mean stumbled. So there you go. And Alan, I'll go to the Champions League game, mate, because I like to boo the anthem, like all the other fans who go to games. Anyway, what are you expecting team-wise from Thursday? Is it Wednesday? I'm just not with the days at the moment because of bloody Christmas. Wednesday, what are you expecting team-wise? Because it looks like Rodri's going to have to play for a little while, because I don't think, even though Calvin Phillips, I think he's going to be back sooner than we think, I don't think he's going to be in the starting 11 for a little while.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was reading a article yesterday by a sports doctor. It was actually saying that the players who've gone to the World Cup should be in absolutely peak condition because they've actually played less football than they normally would in December, but they've kept their fitness up and they've actually had a bit of a rest. So saying that those players, and saying that injury wise and fitness wise, the data says we should be more worried about the players who didn't go to the World Cup than the players who did. And so he was arguing that if you take out the psychological side, the teams with the most players at the World Cup should be in the best shape for the hard run now. So, which was quite interesting because it's counterintuitive to what we all think, without that kind of knowledge. So what do I think we'll see in the team? I think, well, you can say that we're almost certainly going to see. I think we're almost certainly going to see De Bruyne and Rodri start. Be interesting on Gundogan because I think we should always start Bernardo with him, and Bernardo's fine to play, but that would mean dropping Gundogan, which Pep doesn't seem to want to at the moment. You would assume up front that we'll probably go, assuming Bernardo's in midfield, then we'll probably go with Foden, Mahrez and Haaland. And I think we'll see Walker back. I think we'll be interesting to see how Cancelo is. You'd assume he'd be back, but he didn't have a great World Cup, and wasn't in great form for the World Cup. So I'll be interested to see whether he comes back left back or whether we go for Ake again. And I am really hoping, touch wood, I want to see Stones and Laporte at centre back. The partnership probably would be my first choice centre back partnership. So I'd like to see those two back together, and we'll have Big Eddie in goal, no doubt. So, it was interesting. I was reading about, the players coming back, and it was saying that, Laporte and Rodri both came back earlier than they had to, just wanted to get back to training and get on with it. Whereas some of the England players, came back the last possible minute. So, it does show that whilst the team was advised, the players were given time off, they certainly weren't told it was detrimental if they wanted to come back and get on with it straight away. And to me, and maybe this is one of the things where English football can improve a little bit, the fact that Rodri and Laporte come back early, they're desperate to get back, they're desperate to get playing, and the fact that, say, Phillips, Grealish, Foden, take off the most minutes they can and come back at the last minute, to me, that maybe does show one of the things that has always been a slight concern with the English footballers, that a lot of them like to have a slightly better time in their life than a lot of continental footballers who take things a little bit more seriously. But I may be being unfair, but it does strike me that Phillips coming back over his target weight. I mean, I know everyone's saying Fatty Phillips. It's probably 3 kilos or something, and he's probably, still in elite weight. But Pep has said that. He said it about Rodri a couple of years ago. In the summer, he said it about Mahrez. Mahrez came back, several kilos overweight in the summer. So, Pep has got his, the doctors have got their thing that you are going to be, this is your target weight. It's a couple of kilos. And if you come back higher than that, you haven't been doing your part of the bargain.
Are you surprised Pep's coming out so public what he did on Calvin?
Well, he did it to Mahrez as well. He did it to Mahrez. I think he did it with Rodri a couple of seasons ago. So I think he does it to try and really motivate them, and not let them off with some lie about an injury or something. But at the same time, I think there's been a few times where John Stones has been out of the team and he's fit, but he's not in the team, and he's never said anything specific on that. So you do wonder sometimes, was
I
that
don't
the
agree
same?
with Jack there. I think there's a lot of English. I've said this before on things. Everyone's gone into this road of English players are unprofessional. There's unprofessionalism throughout every footballer. It's just that when England do it, there seems to be a bigger hoo-ha, hence the drinking thing, hence the chanting and everything else. It is, you have Neymar who has 4 weeks off a year to go and visit his sister and won't play in this, won't do that. That's not very professional either.
Yeah,
There's a lot
I
of
think.
players do stuff that it's just, I think English players and England as a whole likes to be battered with a stick sometimes.
Yeah,
And I think it's a very unfair thing to say.
I think there is though a couple. I think the one big difference though is that there is a culture of drinking in English football, which there isn't in the other countries. Like I remember Henri talking about this at Arsenal and how none, him and Bergkamp, none of the European players drunk during their career. They weren't teetotal as such, but none of them drunk. And a lot of the English players, went out for beers, very often, and that does seem to be a thing. Whenever we, you never see, Rodri, Laporte, Bernardo and Haaland out on the town getting on the lash in Manchester, but you often see, the likes of Stones, Walker, Foden, etc. So there is clearly a difference in some of the continental players are like, right, we've played the World Cup. I want to go back. I want to get in training. I want to get my place. And where some of the English lads think, I want to go and have a few days beers with my mates, and I think Jack, on that part, it's fair what he's saying. I think there is. I've never seen, maybe the Danes or not even quite the Germans. Some of the Eastern Europeans, yes, you have a bit of that culture, but I don't think that culture exists in Southern Europe. And Mancini said the same. I think he was talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Cassano, who would party, and he said Cassano would go out and party, pick up the girls, pick up cream cakes, whatever he would, but he'd never touch a drop. Danny Alves was a
There's a
real
lot of
party animal.
players in City, Rich,
Da,
that
da,
have done that.
yeah,
And there's
Danny,
players I
Dan,
won't
yeah,
mention. I know
but
for a fact 2 of them were foreign because they were out with my brother. I know that
but
100%. And
but
they were foreign. They were not
yeah,
English, Rich. I
yeah.
also know there's a certain someone who's on trial at the minute. He's not English, but he was out on the piss all the time. And he's admitted
Oh
that
yeah,
himself.
yeah. No,
I just know what
we've
my
had
point is
yeah.
I think it's too much of a stick to throw at English players constantly.
No, but I think it is a relative thing. Like we all know, we've had players like Kinky and Balotelli who like to go out and do. Tevez loved to party. He liked to party. It's not that they don't ever do it, but it's just general on
Kinkladze
it.
was a huge drinker.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We've had players like that, but if you look today and you take, um, say Laporte compared to some of the English lads at the back, or Rodri compared to Phillips, or Haaland compared to Grealish, you'll see some players you don't touch, you never drink, or only have a glass of wine with a meal. Very keep themselves to themselves, and you'll see players who like to go out,
Yeah, but Riyad
publicly with
Mahrez
people
likes to go
watching
out.
and have a drink. But
Riyad
he
Mahrez
doesn't.
plays this
Yeah.
holier than thou person, but he's the first one in Ibiza on a beach giving it the big un.
Oh no, I think he does like to.
So this is my point. I think it's just footballers in general. If you want me to
No.
be,
There's
I do.
no way.
Rich. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no way.
think it's too much of a label to throw
Yeah,
English this, English
yeah.
that, English this,
I'd bet
English
you
that.
now. I'd
I
bet you
think
now
it,
if you
I think
no, no.
no.
I'd bet
Don't
you now
agree with it.
if you looked at the French World Cup squad, probably 70% don't drink. And if you looked at the English World Cup squad, I would bet you it's
Rich,
probably
I don't want to sit
that's
here and go through the biggest
well, no,
issues of footballers in the world. A
yeah.
lot of them were not English, mate.
No, I'm
When
just
we
saying.
start bringing up Ronaldo and all these other stuff, what
Yeah,
they've done a good
Ronaldo.
job.
Yeah. Well, the modern Ronaldo doesn't drink.
Oh, no, he
So
just does. He just gets accused of. Anyway, no, we're not going into this,
yeah.
right? Anyway, I'm not overly this kind of worms
Yeah.
today. Colonel Ward said something earlier on that I disagree with totally, and maybe other people want to keep agreement. But he put a comment up earlier saying that City have bought Haaland to win the Champions League. Haaland was bought because we had no number 9.
Yeah.
We didn't have a striker. Why do people keep saying to me that Haaland was bought for the Champions League?
I think Haaland was bought for everything. He was bought
Exactly.
for all 4. But and I think because we needed a number 9, but I think also because we wanted a world star. I think I think our owners have wanted that iconic player. And even though we all know that Company and De Bruyne and David Silva, Aguero, we all know they're world stars. None of them was that kind of personality and name as big as Haaland is. So I think there is part of it that we signed Haaland, to kind of go up that next level, sign someone who really was, one of those top 3 players in the world, one of the biggest names. So I think he's been signed to win the league. I think he's been signed to win the Champions League, but I think he's also been signed, to boost our profile globally, and as a good investment.
I was just seeing if Vader had messaged because he was a bit late, but his in-laws have just dropped in. Right, Arsenal 8 points ahead. I've got a question for you, and then we are going to talk about Leeds United Fuller.
Yeah.
Is this now a 3-way Premier League race?
I think have
we dismissed the North East club too long now?
Well, I'll say that I've always been the one who rates Newcastle, Martin.
There we go. You've been telling me about Chris's one goal today.
I've been singing the praises of what they've done since January. So, I wouldn't dismiss it. Personally, I think City will go on and win the league. I think that, if they don't get a bad injury run, Newcastle have got a good shot at the top 4. I mean, that would be well ahead of schedule, well ahead of expectation. But I think it could be a very exciting league this year because, you've obviously got Arsenal, Tottenham, and Newcastle, in those top 4 places with City. But I think you've got United looking better, and I think they're going to spend. Even though I thought they were going to get relegated, Ten Hag's actually been allowed to manage the team in a way that no one's been allowed to do since Ferguson. For years, Ed Woodward would have kept Ronaldo because of his Instagram followers, even if it meant them coming 7th. Ten Hag's been allowed to boot out one of their biggest name players ever, and not in a nice way, just basically fire him.
Yeah.
And that to me says that something has changed there, quite significantly, because I think for years it was all about the names, the money, the Instagram followers, and stuff like that. We know what Liverpool have been capable of the last 5 years. So, Newcastle and Arsenal know that they've got Liverpool hunting them from behind. And in many ways, I think that's probably the hardest thing for Arsenal and Newcastle, is that they would have started the season, and if you'd have offered them Champions League football, they would have been over the moon. And, that for them would have been a really successful season. And, they will be at the moment, and I know some of the fans, talk to them that it's a two-way thing. You kind of heart is hoping to win the league, thinking you've got a chance, hoping that you can get that, particularly Arsenal, because obviously they've got 5-point lead over whatever it is over Newcastle. But at the same time, they can also see that they've got that Liverpool team who has accumulated so many points over 5 seasons, an improving United team who will probably go and spend. So they've got those teams chasing them down for the top 4. So they've got that kind of dilemma going of,
Yeah.
what do we want from the season? What's for success? And, you know, you could, you think I think City will get there for the league, but you can see that they'll be fighting for the league for quite a while yet. But at the same time, it's not, a few defeats and a good run from United or Liverpool, and they're suddenly going to be looking over the shoulder the other way, saying, how do we make sure this season ends up with a top 4 finish and the Champions League? Because imagine how exciting it would be if United and Liverpool missed out on the Champions League. And that, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Chelsea as well. Because forget Chelsea, they're there chasing them down. So you've got the three of the 4, recent giants of English football outside the top 4, chasing down, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Tottenham. I think, that, and chasing down City. I mean, let's be honest. I think that's going to make for such an exciting season, and I think that's going to mean that, there's probably going to be more points changing hands, because there's, you're talking about a big 7 now, and most of the teams have got, probably got, 8, 9, 10 matches against big 7 sides left. And so, Arsenal could easily lose 6 games. They could easily lose to City twice. They could easily, lose away at Newcastle, or lose to United, I mean, that's the thing. And anyone in that top 7 could easily lose 6 or 7 games, because they're going to have to play at least 8, 9 games against real rivals for the top 4. So I think it's exciting, but I think a lot of points are going to go. And I think, it's, if City perform well against those big sides, and we, get more than our fair share of points, including, at least 4 against Arsenal, then it's there for us to take. And, you really could now say the top 4 could be any combination of those clubs, and you wouldn't be massively surprised.
I mean, it looks like, Leeds are hopeful that their goalkeeper, Meisler, by the way, will be able to maintain his ever-present record. He has got a recent bout of glandular fever. Tyler Adams looks like he's out. He is suspended. We've obviously got, looks like, no Calvin Phillips, no Diaz, and no Julian Alvarez, because he's still on World Cup duty. So I'm just going to bring Bater in. Rich, what are you expecting from this game? Because I look at Leeds. Good evening, by the way, Bater. I look at Elland Road, and I always think this is always a dangerous away game for me. This is always a danger zone for me, this game. Because like you said, the atmosphere, the pressure, the intensity, it's a war of the roses. And they want to be.
Yeah, I'd say, from watching last season's game, and watching the way Leeds play, is that City need to be brave, because, for the first 30 minutes of that game at Elland Road last season, Leeds pressed as hard as anyone pressed as last season. They had a lot of legs, they had a lot of eagerness, and they really went for City. And City, a lot of the first half were not playing that well, but once City got in their stride, City started to be a bit braver. They started passing half a second earlier, and that enabled them to play through Leeds. And then the press becomes a negative, because it's just tiring them out. It's pushing them out of position. So City have to go there. They have to, appreciate the atmosphere, because the away fans will be in fine voice as well. I mean, obviously it's not 30,000 of them, but they'll be in fine voice. They need to take that pressure. They just need to be brave, pass the ball quickly, move the ball quickly, and then Leeds press can tire them out rather than actually being effective. And we just have to not make mistakes, because obviously the risk under that sort of press is that Stones or Laporte or Rodri or someone gives the ball away and you give away a silly goal. So we just got to avoid that by crisp, brave passing.
No, by the way, it's very hard to get a clock on the stream for watch-alongs because of the platform we use. It's very hard to integrate it in because we don't use OBS Streamlabs. Vader, good evening, mate. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Time, mate.
Happy holidays to everyone watching, and you, Martin, Rich.
Leeds away, Vader. Are you worried? City now obviously in the three-way fight. Arsenal at 8 points clear. Newcastle are above us. Every City fan's gone into meltdown.
It's a three-way battle right now. You saw how Arsenal turned around a very poor start to that game, and then Newcastle showed that they're not going to be forgotten. Well, what they were doing before the World Cup break wasn't a fluke. They're serious. To say I'm worried if we don't show up. We're going to have to show up from minute one, I think, in this game. The fact that it's a holiday match, every fan is turning out. It's going to be a very, I think, a very loud atmosphere. And we need to keep pace, as crazy as that sounds. So my only worry is just how in sync the defense is going to be. I don't have any concerns with whatever midfield Pep might pick. I'm not really worried with whatever front three he'll pick, because I think that will be figured out pretty early on how they work together. But it's the defense. I'm not sure what that combination of four is going to be, and that's that would be my only worry. Like Rich mentioned, we don't want to make any silly mistakes and let them into the game. So I'm going to be eager to see what that starting 11 is going to be.
Okay, let's go through it then. So we're all saying Edison in goal. Back line, is everyone presuming Walker's back at right back?
Yeah.
I would presume that.
So we'll say Walker right back. Centre back pairing, Rich, you've gone with Stones, Laporte.
Yeah, definitely.
I would tend to agree with that one.
Yeah, Stones, Laporte. And then what's happening at left back?
Cancelo, isn't it?
Cancelo back, yeah. So did it come out? Did Ake suffer like a little? Is anything wrong with his hamstring? So I know he grabbed it a little bit during that match.
Not that I know of.
Okay, good. No, he had a tough assignment. He had to run around with Salah all day. So
I mean, obviously, is anyone going to? I presume it's Rodri.
Yeah.
This is the key. Who goes alongside KDB for you? Because I'm presuming the way Gundogan went off against Liverpool, I don't ever want to wish injury on anyone. Really. Because I don't want to wish him injury. I hope he's
I hear a butt coming along, though.
I want Bernardo next to KDB later.
Yes, I agree. Yeah,
Rich
like Rich was
talking
mentioning.
at the moment, and he's on mute. I don't know if he realizes he's on mute or whether he's having a.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't realize I was on mute. No, I think
we're just lip reading for a minute.
Yeah, I think Bernardo needs to play, and I think we've got a lot of games coming up, some pretty important games. So I think for me, if we're going to play Gundogan and De Bruyne together, we'll do it at home against Everton in a couple of days after. But I think we definitely need to go Bernardo in midfield for Leeds. I think we need to sit there and we need to work out which 3 out of 4 games Bernardo's going to play and keep Gundogan fresh for the 4th game. He might play alongside Bernardo sometimes, but I think we've got to work that out. in advance. So I think, really for the league game away at Chelsea and away at Leeds, I think Bernardo's got to be in midfield. If we need, and probably at this stage, probably in midfield for that, probably in midfield for the game at Everton as well. And then, let Gundogan in the FA Cup game, give Bernardo a rest for that FA Cup game, and let Gundogan and De Bruyne, play together in that one.
I think Scott's a Leeds fan, but yes, I get what you're saying with Somerville and Gnotto. Somerville has surprised me this year. I've even got him in my fantasy football team. Very, very good young player, but I don't think you're going to be a lot of attacking against us. I think if you try and come at us, you're going to have to expose. You're going to see a lot of problems.
I think where it's a challenge, the high line, is when you're playing against a player as clinical as, say, Salah, who, we know against us that if Salah gets the break, he probably scores 2 out of 3 or something like that. I think, therefore, you give up a couple of chances in a game, there's a very high chance you've conceded 2 goals. Whereas I think someone like, young lads like those young lads at Leeds, they might get 1 in 4 if they get a good break. And therefore, if they give up 2 chances against Leeds, they're probably not going to concede 1. And that's the difference between when we're playing against Real Madrid and Liverpool with that high line, where it can be a real risk. But when we play a high line against, everyone except Leicester City with Vardy outside the top teams, I think the high line is a bit less dangerous because
they don't play Vardy anymore. They've switched it now. They play Vardy the last 20 minutes now.
I think Vardy's it's a bit less dangerous.
But Gundo was good, but he's too slow for this game, Blue Art. He's too slow. You need that tenacity in there, that ball-winning midfielder who will cover the yards, and that's what Bernardo Silva brings for me. Front 3 then. Haaland, obviously.
Yeah.
Anyone going to say anything different than Phil?
For me, I've said it earlier, Mahrez, Haaland, Foden, I think will be what we start with.
So you drop Jack.
I think Jack will play one. I think Jack will play the game after, and Mahrez won't. I think at the moment Foden starts if he's fit. I think Haaland starts if he's fit, and I think Mahrez and Jack, and when he comes back, Alvarez will be playing the slightly lesser games and swapping for the big games.
Me, Foden on the right, Grealish on the left, Haaland in the middle.
Possible.
So remind me, against Liverpool, was Foden subbed on before Jack?
No.
Okay. You know what? Just so we all have something to review differently post-match, I'm going to say...
get over that. That's garbage, mate. We played I-line loads and we don't concede 3.
Yeah,
first rodeo here, Jack.
No,
come on.
No. I'm going to say, obviously, Haaland. I'm going to say Foden on the right. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. I think Jack on the left and Foden on the right.
See, I'm with Neil. Sean says Grealish is frustrated. It depends what you want out of Grealish. If you want in goal scoring, then no, he does not going to give it you. But neither does Bernardo Silva. And I keep saying this, and people think I'm being silly. Jack Grealish is doing exactly what Pep Guardiola was asking of him. So if anyone's got big issues with Jack, you need to go and send a letter into City and say something to Pep then. Because Pep, he's saying he's doing exactly what he's asking him to do.
Yeah.
I'm a bit lost on this Grealish bashing now. I'm a bit lost on it. I don't know what people are wanting. Sané, Sterling, Aguero. We don't do that anymore. We haven't.
You know what?
Done
In
that
the chat,
in
in the chat, let me know. Would those in the chat prefer which is the less of two evils, I guess? Is it Jack, Holland, Foden, or is it Foden, Holland, Mahrez?
I find Mahrez more frustrating to watch than Grealish because Mahrez can't hold the ball up.
Yeah, I think they can both. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the line I've been wanting to see for months, and I think we've only seen it for a small amount, is Alvarez, Haaland, Foden. You know, that's what that's
Seen it, bro.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'd like to see more of that. I love Alvarez's energy, his running. He's obviously not available for this game. He's probably, it sounds like, not even available for Everton. You know, they're letting him have a bit of time off to process.
Looks
You
like
know,
Chelsea.
becoming. I
Looks like
mean,
Chelsea.
yeah,
Looks like the
yeah.
Chelsea Cup game even.
Yeah, and but you are talking about a kid who's gone from, you know, Argentinian football to the Premier League champions to winning the World Cup inside, you know, inside a year. So it's, you know, that's got to be a big thing. I mean, although he seems to be a pretty sensible, he seems to be, you know, a pretty level-headed lad. So hopefully he comes back without too many stories in the newspapers.
I don't think we did gift them 2 goals. I thought both defences were a bit shabby, Jack. I honestly thought City could have put 8 or 9 past Liverpool the other night.
And they give,
I had a Liverpool fan tell me, if Darwin Núñez took his chances, we'd have smashed you. Said Nathan Aki had more chances than all your bloody team. Behave. They need to go. Some Liverpool fans need to go and rewatch that game.
Yeah, I think
seriously.
Darwin Núñez is in the wrong sport. I think he's
should be an athlete.
Yeah, you know, but maybe a decathlete or something. But he can't finish. I mean, he makes
rugby. Should be rugby.
You know, I was saying it to someone the other day. He makes Raheem Sterling look like Marco van Basten. He really does.
Do you know, I have clicked on it. I think because, I mean, Jack said it again, and it's Jack's opinion. It most certainly is. Bring back Sané. I've heard Carl say it as well, mate, which me and you know. I think some City fans are wanting this Centurion front 3 back.
It's a little bit of nostalgia, yeah.
We don't play that way anymore. We haven't played that way in a long while.
I think the reason we want, or, you know, I completely get wanting Sané back. For me, it's not about the Centurion. It's about a player whose talent versus what they achieved. I think it's been the biggest negative of City under our new owners. I think we've got players who've come in like Aguero and Silva, and they've really achieved everything they were capable of. They've become top international players. We've had a player like Raz, who I actually think was, you know, a bit more limited than some of the others in his ceiling, but who produced brilliant numbers and great impact season after season. And then we had Sané, who, in many ways, I think his ability to finish, his pace, his ability to go past a man, in some ways he could have been better than all of them. He could have been the best player we've had in the last decade on his capability and his, you know, technical ability, his athletic ability, but he never got close. He was always, you know, we had a great half an hour from him there, or he scored a great goal and had impact, but he never came close mentally. His work rate is off the pitch. It just seemed he just didn't have, you know, what he needed. And so I think all of us look at Sané and think, here is a player who should be up there scoring 30 goals a season, centre forward, you know, who should be dominating in the Champions League, and he's never done it. And I think all of us have that, you know, that feeling that that's still there inside Sané, and it should come out, and it should come out at City. And that's why people want him back, because he just never, you know, like, but the other player like that was Balotelli. Balotelli had the world at his feet in terms of his ability, but he just never did it. And there's just those 2 players for me. If I look back,
that's what I wanted to mention earlier, Rick. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. When you mentioned about just English players, that was one of the foreign ones I was going to talk about.
But he apparently he wasn't much of a boozer. He was just drunk when
he was just a complete and utter dick.
But he was
just a complete and utter arrogant prick, is what he was.
He was our lovely. He was
great, but he was beyond arrogant. I park here. I'll pay the parking line.
But you know, I've said it. I've said it for years. If you put and it's to Jack Lee's comment there, if you put Sterling's attitude and his mentality and his effort and his work rate in Leroy Sané's body, you'd have had the best player in the world, because Sterling, for me, year after year, overachieved like no one else in English football in terms of getting the most out of his talent, and Leroy underachieved. So I just always thought, if only you could put those two together, you would have a player who is up there with the Mbappes and Haalands of this world, because his talent was immense talent.
You know what, Rich and mate, I get it. I get some fans want to go back in time and look at that centurion of Sterling, Aguero, Sané, and then they look at Alvarez, Haaland, and Foden, and they think, wow, we could have that again. And I'm just like, Pep's not the same Pep anymore. Pep come out and said, I'm different now. I've changed things.
But no one's, and it's a funny thing, no one's saying, I wish we could get Sterling back. You won't hear a single thing.
That's amazing. That one.
But and Sané adds to it. I mean, he was at the game the other night taking photos from his seat up in the stand watching City Liverpool. He then goes and he then spent a day going back to the training ground to meet everyone and chat to them. And if you follow his Twitter, he tweets about City as much as he does about Bayern Munich. So, you know, there's obviously an element in Leroy Sané that feels he doing all that must really piss off Bayern fans. I'd hate it if I was a Bayern fan, seeing, one of your players going off, watching a game, tweeting about how much they love it, tweeting from the game, going down and hugging all the players when he's pretty aloof when he's at Bayern. I mean, so, there's obviously elements all around about this, but I guess for me, I've had the feeling for a year or two, it is going to be a story of unfulfilled potential, unrequited love. I don't think he is going to come back.
You know what? I think Grealish could be that, Rich. I think Grealish could be unfulfilled potential to a lot of fans.
But I don't think that I think if you asked any City fan, 95% would say Sané's ceiling is so much higher than Grealish's.
Of course, so
for me, it's a slightly different debate.
Yeah, but the difference is Grealish does something. Sané had a lot more going forward, 1,000%.
Yeah,
but Grealish has something Sané didn't have. He'd come back and track back. And if you ask Pep, which is the most important out of those two, it ain't the running up scoring goals.
Well, he's not going to trade. The thing is, Pep's not going to trade that. He's not going to say, I'm going to take especially at that position, I'm going to take what you do offensively and relinquish you having any defensive responsibility. He's not going to do that.
Do it.
But you ask yourselves, the flip of that is that if we had a player like Sané, and I know Sané's not going to handle being on the bench, but imagine Sané coming off the bench in the last 25, 30 minutes of those two games against Real Madrid, we'd be in the Champions League final. Sané, with that space against Real Madrid, he would have taken a couple of goals.
Aguero would have scored 40 a season if he'd continued to be the way that Pep. If he hadn't changed, Aguero could have been the fox in the box scoring 40 a season. Pep went, excuse me, come here. We need a conversation. You need to get your ass back to midfield to come and win the ball.
But the difference between these two conversations is Aguero is retired, and there is no I mean, we may hanker for Aguero, but it's a purely theoretical thing. The reality is, and this is the amazing thing with Sané. Sané is still 27. He is still, arguably at his peak or a year below his peak. He's still got time.
As weird as it sounds,
fulfill his potential.
As weird as it sounds, we saw, quote unquote, a glimpse, right, of Sané and what he could have meant long term for us. And I think that's what many fans are really remembering. And they think him coming back would have been the same impact.
We know if you get to the last half hour in a Premier League game, in a season where everything's on the line, you have to win. We know that you could rely on Sané coming on and getting a goal. Having the composure to beat a man, running and finish. He got some important goals for us. Back games like the Derby. where he got important goals. He had that in him, and I think that's one thing we probably, Alvarez may become that, but we lack that really athletic, clinical person to come on, to bring on wide. If we lack something up front, obviously we've got one of the most clinical striker in the world, so hopefully we don't need that because he's put the ball away a few times. But I wouldn't mind seeing someone with that pace, that raw pace available. So I'd still take him back, even though my head probably says it would be stupid. I think my heart would say there is still Leroy Sané has still not achieved a third of what he could in the game.
I agree.
Still not peaked, and it's a waste. It's a waste.
I just think as fans we have to realise Pep has changed. Pep has changed, and as much as people, I keep saying it, we can sit and argue all over social media or all over here. It's not our choices.
Yeah,
one man's choice, and that's the man we entrust to go in and win trophies.
And even from a system standpoint, I'm not saying that Sané is still that player, but if he were to be that player that wasn't tracking back consistently, we can't afford that. We do want Haaland in that position up front, not really asking him to do the tracking back. Yeah, he needs to press a little bit, make sure that ball moves, but he's not. He's
do you know
that.
What makes me laugh, Vader? What's the one thing all fans slag Mahrez off for?
Oh no, they kill Mahrez for not tracking back.
What? Yeah, exactly. But they're all happy when other players don't do it.
Yeah,
that's what makes me laugh.
Yeah. That's their way of football. Like people,
I know
some players are allowed to get
this player. He won't track back, but I can't stand Mahrez because he won't track back.
Yeah.
What?
You imagine, if Grealish.
You understand what I mean? It's a bit weird, that, isn't it? Though.
Yeah. But we have players who will be allowed. KD. Well, not that KDB ever does anything because he's Mr. Football, but if a KDB or a Phil Foden does something, even John Stones, City fans all love Stones. Stones, you'll get away with a lot of things. Some of the other players who we like less will get crucified for doing the same. That's just football. That happens at every club.
Spot on from Blue Out. Pep's always adapting, always looking for another key, and that's what he'll always do. That's what he'll always do. He'll always keep adapting, and that's why some players don't suit it anymore. So back to Leeds United. If we don't win,
if we don't win,
could happen.
Yeah, could happen.
Are we all going to have a meltdown?
No,
because it'll come.
I'm having a meltdown depending on how we lose. 100%. It's not so much losing. I can accept losing, of course. I can accept losing, but it's going to be how we lose. That might cause a meltdown for me. If I see us struggling to find a solution, or if I see that maybe some players aren't up for it today or on the day, and Pep makes one of those choices to not have a sub for the entire 90 minutes, I may have a meltdown. But we'll wait and see. I'm not even thinking like that right now.
See, I understand what you're saying, McLovin. My point is with Grealish is, though, Grealish brings us something that we now do this year. Pep is all about ball retention, ball possession. And that is what Grealish brings. He holds the ball up really nicely, really comfortably, brings the ball out, and he's passed. His job is not to bring it. Yes, does he need to score more and assist more? Probably yes. But he brings something exactly what Pep wants. He brings us the composure, the possession-based football, the control that we require within a game. Which is why, funnily enough, people make this thing, but statistically, we've not lost a point when Grealish has played this year.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat. I didn't realize that. Yeah, I think you pointed it out, and then recently I think I saw that on Twitter. Like, that's a very surprising stat.
Yeah, we're only going to run for another couple of minutes. I won't have a meltdown. I won't, because I keep saying it.
You won't have a meltdown. You won't have a meltdown if it's a poor loss.
I'll have a moan, but I won't be, the baby won't be going out with the bathwater.
All right. All right.
Only because, and I've said this earlier on Twitter, and believe it or not, you're going to think I'm lying here. I ain't asked if we don't win out this year.
What?
I'm not bothered. If we don't win trophies this year, so be it. As long as we're challenging, I'm fine. I'm not bothered.
You are lying. No way.
Hey, I've
no.
always told you I'm not in this for trophies. Never have been. Not that bothered. Because I know we'll go again in a year or two.
No, not having it.
Year.
I'm not having it. No.
No, I'm not. You ask Rich. Honestly, I'm not that bothered about it, Beta. If we win the trophies, great. But it's not the be-all and the end-all to me. As long as we're challenging and we're having a go, I'm fine. If we lose out and come second, so be it.
Yeah, I think it depends. You know, I've always said, Martin, I'd trade trophies in a season for a load of kids. Kids coming through.
I know, Rich, but I didn't sit and watch Bloody City against Wrexham because I was asked about a trophy.
Yeah, you did that because you wanted to meet Ryan Reynolds.
No,
and you knew
because
one
I
day.
love the bloody club. Rich, do you think I went and watched City versus Girona in -4 because I was bothered about a trophy? I'm not asked. I go and watch City with the grass grow, mate.
But you're bothered about them playing well. You're looking for them to play.
No, you didn't say that. If they get smashed, then I'll say there's something wrong with it. But what I'm saying is, if City play okay and we get beat by Arsenal and finish second, I ain't having no meltdown.
So let me say this. Let me say this.
United fan, and I'd be having a meltdown every 5 minutes.
Let me ask you this then, Martin. Do you think we can play at our potential and still not be successful?
Can we say that again?
Can we play at our best and still not get a result? Still not get a trophy or still not challenge? Do you think we could play at our best and that not happen?
Yes, because you don't know, because outside influence could change it.
Okay, now what if you see us not playing at our best? Is that time to be upset, to then, like when we're not playing to our form? Okay, that's what I'm getting at. If we're not playing to our form, that's where we can have, quote unquote, our meltdowns or our questioning of
it depends what you mean by meltdown. If we're talking, this team shit, can't believe we're not winning trophies, all the money we spent. To me, that's not justified.
Okay, yeah. Ever. All right. Let me not go full tilt, nuclear, united meltdown that we've seen before. But let's go. We would start questioning some decisions, questioning some starts if we're not playing to the form that we've grown accustomed to seeing. Like that's where I see us being in our spaces, talking, being on your show, my show, and talking like, what's going on? Why aren't we playing to our potential here? Why are we dropping these games? That's when we have those conversations maybe every day for the next 7 days. If we see that, we're going to be upset. Us not playing at our level, we're going to be upset.
Listen, if we don't play to our best, then yes, you can say, right, what's wrong? And you can analyze what's going wrong. When I mean I'm not bothered if we don't win trophies, it will never affect what with my relationship with Manchester City if we don't win trophies.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah,
That's what I mean by that. Mate.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
I'm not a City fan right now because we're banging in trophies left, right, centre.
I got it.
There will be a day, mate.
I think both of you,
yes,
also have to accept that. There's different ways things could pan out. Like, say, for example, Liverpool went on a run and won 18 games, and Liverpool went on and won the league, beating City by 2 points. City fans would be much, much, much more pissed off than if Arsenal or Newcastle kept their form going and won the league. Because I think it was United or Liverpool, we'd probably look at it a bit differently if we came second.
I agree.
That's
we came second to Arsenal.
Because that's
if we
exactly
came second to
the United
Newcastle.
attitude, mate, of the arrogance. Let's not go like them over the road, Jack.
Yeah, but
that's what I mean.
The thing is, there's a difference between the manager and the fans.
Yeah.
The manager's got to have an attitude about winning everything because their job is there to go and win trophies. So, yeah, you don't want a manager who's got the attitude of the fans. That the truth is, the fans, it's it's so much more than just. I mean, certainly if you're a fan who goes to games and live locally. I mean, what do I remember, games
But
where
my whole
actually
point is here.
you remember far more sitting in the pub for 4 hours chatting about City in
Yeah.
1990s than you
Well,
actually
this
remember
is
about the
obviously my
game.
point, mate. If you as a City fan are going to moan about City not winning a trophy, then you are doing exactly what you all slagged off 15 years ago.
Yeah, there are
You are
fans.
doing exactly
Yeah.
what you said you would never do 15 years ago.
When we used to listen to the early days of TalkSport, you'd have fans phoning in. You'd have United fans phoning in after they lost one game, wanting Ferguson sacked. And that would happen. And sometimes you thought they can't really be United. There's got to be someone taking the piss. But they all had Cockney accents, so they probably were United fans.
Every team spends money now, McLovin.
And
Every
that's what you have. And at the end of the day, being a football fan's not about winning trophies because let's be honest, Martin. For most of our City supporting life, we were hoping that one day we might sneak a Carabao Cup or we might sneak an FA Cup. We weren't ever thinking, are we going to, well, maybe a few deluded people like me thought, oh, we might win the league this year under Peter Reid. But we were never going to win the league. We weren't in Europe most of that time. And, winning an FA Cup once I'd have probably in 2007, you'd have said in the next 20 years, you can win an FA Cup. Would you take it? Yeah. Because winning something would have been absolutely amazing. But it was every bit as fun and every bit as good being a City fan in those days.
This
as
is
it
my
is
point,
today.
Rich. And as Alec John said, I want City to win everything, but I'll never be arrogant like those. And unfortunately, some City fans have gone like that.
Yeah.
They've jumped into the arrogant zone. And they've become what they all said they were never going to become 15 years ago. That's the sad part. I'm not saying, when I say I'm not bothered about trophies, what I mean by that is, if City don't win a trophy, I'm not going to sit there having a massive meltdown saying, that's it, I'm done. I'm not bothered. I didn't support this club for trophies.
Yeah. City not winning trophy doesn't mean the manager needs to get out. We need new owners. Yeah, I hear you.
And it's a mentality that it's really sad. The fact is that it's 92 league clubs, and realistically, all the trophies for the last 10 years, give or take a few Carabao Cups and I think one FA Cup, the trophies all get won by 6 teams. You can make it 7 if you add in Leicester winning a few things, but fundamentally you've got 92 teams. Most of the match going support going to the 86 teams who never win anything, and their football is just as important to them. It's just as big a part of their life. It's just as good. It's just as exciting, not winning trophies. But we've just had this thing where, it's that psychological thing of United and Liverpool fans. They're insecure. That a lot of them have picked the team purely for success, and they've picked the team because their own personal worth is boosted by supporting a club that wins trophies, because they somehow think that being a fan on the west coast of Ireland is actually influencing Liverpool to win things. And so they come out as if the only thing about being a supporter is trophies, as if the only thing that matters is winning stuff, if the only thing that matters is an history book which has a load of trophies on it, because history is trophies. It's not. History's everything. History's Notts County.
This is all I mean. This is all I mean. Is what Blue said. Trophies are the prize, but they're a bonus if you get them. I don't care how much money you spend, because United will be winning trophies year in, year out if we're going on money spent. PSG will be winning the Champions League every year. Liverpool are now spending money. You've got Newcastle are spending money. Everybody, Everton spent $500 million. Should they be winning the league?
Yeah, no, I hear that.
Flows flat with me.
Yeah, and my only challenge was we still want to see our team play at its best, and that's the only thing that I was. Yeah,
listen,
absolutely.
City will always compete. I know that, but I am not bothered if we play well and don't get it. Fine, but there will be fans out there who will lose their mind if we don't. And they're the fans that get pissed off at. And if that hurts people, fair enough. Sorry, everyone can support the club how they want. That's fine. But on this channel, as you know, I am an old school. I am a dinosaur, as you all want to call me. That's just me. Sorry. It's the way I am. I'm not able. Trophies to me are the bonus. They're the bonus if we get them at the end. That's why when Leicester won the league and Liverpool won the league, City fans didn't have a 99% meltdown. There wasn't a massive meltdown. We went, never mind. We go again next year.
You know what?
Yeah, Liverpool only wanted to because we had our centre back crisis that year.
Yeah, and most of us thought Leicester winning the league was absolutely magic. It was absolutely mental. It was magic. It was, it was that fantasy that about 85 sets of supporters have happening that never ever happens. Was there 1,500 to 1 or something ridiculous? It was just crazy. But
sorry, Rich.
That's good for football.
You shoot, mate. Veta Games TV, go on it. That subscribe. I know you got to shoot.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just got to run off. We're doing dinner. It's only 6:30 over here, so family dinner time. And
this is turning into another heated debate on trophies here.
Yeah.
I'll be back for part 2. Martin, thanks for having me on. Rich as well. Hope you guys have a fantastic holiday with the family, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
See, I'm with Alec Johnson. Maybe it's me, Rich. I've got a dinosaur's mentality and fine. If that means I don't belong in the club anymore, then fair play.
No, it's not. I mean,
it's the way I am.
That's the club has supporters who are everyone, and so for those of us who've been supporters a long time, we never were involved in supporting City because of anything other than friends, family, and it being something we loved, and it was never anything to do with trophies. And I can honestly say that the anticipation and the build up to your first trophy is miles better than any other trophy you'll ever win again. And that's the sad reality is that if let's be quite honest, if Newcastle or Tottenham won the league this season, the joy their fans would get from it would be 10 times the joy that our fans would get from the same thing, because it would just be absolutely amazing for those fans, and that's the reality of it. And that's why probably there's such a sourness among so many United and Liverpool fans, is that they do think that their support for their clubs is only about trophies, and when they don't win, to just make themselves feel better, they have to come up with excuses. Whereas I think
there's a go on, Rich. Sorry, go on.
But I think when you lose or you don't win, you just say, there might be excuses, but you just say fair play. Someone else won. That's what it's about.
There's a way to win with dignity, and there's a way to lose with dignity. That's my whole point here. And no, listen, every family club can support how they want to support. I'm talking about me. I want us to perform well. My whole point is, if we don't win trophies, we don't win trophies. I'm not going to have a meltdown about it.
No, absolutely not.
I think Jackson misunderstood what I meant here when I've said it. Of course, I go to games wanting us to win. But if we don't win a game, I'm not having a meltdown for 20 minutes. Going, I don't do it.
No,
we're going to win. We're not going to get 110 points or whatever it is. It isn't possible. That's all I'm saying. And I got told the other day I was inoculating myself. How can someone of 42 years, nearly, or 40 years of sporting City, inoculate themselves against failure when all I watched for 25 years was bloody failure? How was that inoculating myself when all I watched was failure?
Yeah. No, I think
So I think, Jack, you misunderstood what I'm saying there. Anyway, let's sort of move on then. So, yeah, I'm laughing because Rich is melting.
Yeah. We've gone on longer and the sun's now come over the house. It's going to be 30 degrees here today or something.
Yeah, I get it. Listen, that's all I'm saying is let's not be them over the road. There's a big difference. Anyway, Rich, are you got anything planned? Are you watching the Leeds game at home or in the pub?
I think I'll be watching at home because it's 7 a.m. kickoff. So little bit tempted to head down the pub in Manly, but I reckon 7 a.m. is probably a bit early to start drinking. So I think I'll probably watch the game at home with a nice cup of coffee.
Go and give Vader a lot of love. Vader Games TV does amazing work. Go and give him a lot of love. Really, really good. And I think people have misunderstood what I mean. There's a big difference between me saying I'm just not. If we don't win the league, I'm not going to have a 20-minute rant on air going, "Well, shit, I've had enough of it. We spent $1 billion." None of that. If we played to our best and Arsenal pip us to the league, congratulations to Arsenal. We go again next year. That's what I mean by it. Nothing will stop me supporting this football club. My car read, he talks facts. He's saying the exact same thing I'm saying, Jack, but you said I've talked shit and Alex is talking facts and we're saying the exact same thing. At least someone gets me. People forget the passion. We all want to see our team be successful. We do. It doesn't give us a divine right. That's all I mean. Money doesn't give us any divine right because bloody Everton would be winning trophies then. We have strengthened in January. That's the last thing before we go, Rich. There's been talk today of Jasper Jakarvel again, or whatever his name is. Can't remember his bloody name. Can't pronounce it right, you know me.
Who, the player at Leipzig?
Yes.
Guardiola.
Obviously won't be for the summer. He'll be for the summer.
Yeah.
Apparently, us and Madrid are the two in for him. It's not going away. Would you like him anymore? Have you seen any more of him?
I'd like us to sign the player we think is the best left back we could sign. And, you know, I think if you look at the world today, it's probably him or Hernandez who are, you know, I think probably rated the most strongest left backs. So, you know, even though he's played centre back, I'd give him a go. Definitely, I want a quality defensive fullback. So above anything, and then I want a second need is a young attacking midfielder. So yeah, by all means, I think we should be going all out for him and Bellingham. And if we can't see a better option at left back, and you know, I think we should be. You know, if letting them stay on loan for the season helps get the deal through, we need to do it. You know, one thing that has occurred to me about why some of these deals might be going through, and there may be a few of these deals done now, is that FIFA's about to change the rule, I think, from the summer on the amount that agents can get. So
Yes,
if you're the agent of Guardiola, you're the agent of Bellingham, or you're the agent of Mbappe, getting deals done now, you know, maybe very, very much in your interest. So what we may see is a couple of deals done now that, you know, clubs go and take advantage of the fact they can overpay the agent a bit to get the deals done. And, you know, that's what happens.
And Declan Rice, apparently Fabrizio has come out and said City are interested in Declan Rice.
Which is that's an interesting one, because that you know, that it'd be interesting to see how we would use him if we got him. But I'd prefer to get someone with a bit more athleticism.
I don't see where you'd play him when you got Rodborough.
No, well,
Or
I think I think Phillips is a bit different, because Phillips is a lot more, I think, able to play a bit further forward, or even, you know, a bit more adaptable than Rice. I think, you know, he's probably not quite as good as that centre midfielder, defensive midfielder, but I think Phillips we could use him in a lot of different ways. But
Definitely.
Rice, you know, if we were really seriously after Rice, then that would suggest to me that we're really worried about Phillips.
Yeah. Well, Rich, if you want to go, mate, I'll wrap it up. If you want to get out.
It's a hard life. Well, it's a hard life, you know. I think I might want to go for a swim.
That's the picture I got sent on Christmas Day. I got a picture of his swimming pool on Christmas Day.
Nice. Yeah, I think you can see it down there, along with, you know. So I you know, I've got to go and make the most of. It's been a few years since we've had an amazing Christmas weather, but we have this year, so I've got to make the most of it.
Yeah, well, you go, Rich, and I'll tell them all about what's coming up on the channel. And hopefully, Rich, will see you from post-match on Thursday.
Yeah.
Wednesday evening, Thursday morning for you.
Yeah, I'll definitely be around after the game. So, yeah, I'll speak to everyone then.
So, yeah, go on, Rich. Off you go, you lucky sod.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye. Thank you, mate. Anyway, before everyone shoots, I'm just going to spend 5 minutes. We have got a lot on this next few days. On Wednesday, there will be a watch along live from 7 p.m. We will be live with all the build up, including breaking team news live on the channel. My missus is out, my kids are out, so I'm on my own. So yes, I'm going to do a watch along. I know some of you people said, "Don't worry, I have some family time," but no, my family's all out. So rather than watch it on my own, and I know a lot of people have not got Amazon Prime, will do a watch along. I know they're not always the best, but people, if you want to come and join us, have a chat before, there will be a post match. And then also on the next day, Thursday, the 29th, we have a very special guest coming up on the show to talk Everton. JSGC has all but agreed to come onto the channel on Thursday evening. And me, Rich, JSGC, maybe Ozza, and maybe one or two others will have a little chat all about Manchester City and Everton. But it will be great to get Jay onto the channel. We've not spoken to him. Well, I've not spoken to him in a while. Kept in constant contact with him. But I have, we've not spoken to him on a show, but JSGC will be back on Thursday. Touch wood, as long as there's no issues. But I've been DMing in all day. And yeah, it's now been arranged for Thursday for the Everton game. But we'll fully confirm. Excuse me. We'll get it confirmed. Depends, Jack Lee, because it doesn't matter anyway. I'll speak to you about that privately if you need to. He might not be allowed. He's in a anyway. Doesn't matter. Anyway, let's see. Last few comments, then we're going to shoot. Rice is overrated. Don't want him. Yeah, I just think Pep's doing what he did at Bayern when he got a nucleus of German. When he was at Bayern, he got a nucleus of Spanish. At Barcelona, I mean, not Bayern. And then at City, he wants a nucleus of English. And this is what he's doing. It looks like it with Bellingham and everyone else that he wants. Got my long johns on. Phillips is in big trouble, I believe, with Rice rumours. I don't see the Rice rumours being true. I don't see us spending over 100 million on Rice. I really don't. For who? I really don't. Because you got Rodra. I think Calvin Phillips is happy to sort of be a bench player or a rotation player. I won't say bench player, rotation player. Declan Rice won't be happy to be a rotation player. Declan Rice will want the big games, but so will Rodra. Jared Bowen is shit, can't finish. Brilliant last season. Bleeding Shaw, Rich acting like a rag. I know. Just got in, oh my God, jealous. I know, you know what I mean. It's because we're paying him here at the Mancunian way. I wish. I'm beginning to do. I got that picture on Christmas Day. I've seen it before, but this is what he does. Thank you, Sean. No worries. I was going to go, but I can't get there anymore with my son. I don't want to take my son to Leeds. Hey, Amazon Prime, exactly. That's why we're doing the watch along. Thank you, Alec Johnson. They are a shambles. And listen, Frank Lampard, by rumours this evening, may not even be in the job by New Year's Eve. It's weird how we're suddenly getting 3 p.m. kickoffs, isn't it, on a Saturday? Exactly, Andrew. That's my problem. Fabrizio is reliable. Have you mentioned Gakpo? Yes, I have. He's gone. I think, I don't know where that leaves. I think it's, like I said, Andrew, I think it's a very weird signing from Liverpool, that one. I don't see why I didn't need him. I don't see where he plays to help them. They need a midfielder, not a Gakpo sort of player. I really don't understand that one. But he's going to Liverpool. United have lost out to another target. It is going to be a very interesting second part to the season. Newcastle are now in second. City have dropped to third, but with 2 games in hand on Newcastle. Arsenal turned things around in the second half with a 3-1 win over the Hammers. And yes, Arsenal go 8 points clear. But remember, City have got a game in hand, and they've also got to play Arsenal twice as well. So it's still in Manchester City's hands, and that is what matters. And before anyone goes, Martin don't want trophies. No, that's what I'm saying is I don't support City for trophies. Big difference in what I said. And I will not have a meltdown. If we play shit and we just hand everyone the title, then yes, you can have a moan. But if we play 100% to our best and we get pipped, fair enough. You hold your hands up, you go again next season, you dust yourself down, and you go. We don't sack Pep, we don't sack the players, we just go again. It's what we do. Pep's project is doing a great job. Arsenal aren't going away. They're not. And neither are Newcastle. Newcastle, for me, are starting to look like Leicester. And that's worrying. So we'll just see. Newcastle's big test will come when they go on a losing run. And now, because when last time Eddie Howe went on a losing run was at Bournemouth, and he dropped like the Titanic. So hopefully it doesn't happen again for Newcastle, but they are doing exquisitely at the moment, as are Arsenal, proving everyone wrong. They all thought Gabby was injured, the drop, but they have got a set of balls about them. So this title race, if City won it, they're going to have to earn it big time this season. Come and join us tomorrow night. Sorry, when is it? 6, 7? Wednesday night, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. We will be live on Wednesday, December the 28th, 7 p.m. with all the build-up plus watch-along of Manchester City's travel to trip to Elland Road, followed by a live post-match. So come and show us a lot of love. I know not everyone has Amazon Prime. I know watch-alongs not everyone's favourite, but you've not watched one of my watch-alongs yet. There ain't no anti-City commentary over here. You'll have a lot of fun. Come and join us. Even if you just stick me on mute and just stick the TV on, keep us and come and support your channel. Like I said on the Christmas Day message, your channel. Come and support it on the watch along on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. start. Kickoff is at 8. Sean says 2-0. You said yes, we know he is going home. I love City longer than my wife. Exactly. Pep's Pride is doing a great job. They aren't going away. Anyway, have a lovely day. Please smash that like on the way out. It is all opinions. Don't always have to agree. That's what this thing is about. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your Christmas time. Have a lovely time. Take care. And we'll see you on the next one. Wednesday night, live, 7 p.m. Watch along. Come and join us. Take care, Blues. Love you all. Take care.